Whether you have a high yield savings account right now, you may have noticed that interest rates have dropped. So I wanted to give a, a list of 6 of the best high yield savings accounts as of May 2020 that you can start putting your sinking funds and your emergency fund in. Aside from the pandemic probably having an influence on this, high yield savings accounts are actually tied to the federal funds rate. And since the federal funds rate is being lowered, that's why we're seeing a drop in high yield savings accounts in a lot of different banks. But these are ones that are still fairly high and have on average about 18 times higher APY or annual percentage yield than other savings accounts. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is the Finance Sister. My name is Anna, and we talk about money, financial behavior, and having financial freedom. And hopefully this video will be a very simple way of communicating things that kind of are not always super fun to research. So I've done the research for you, and I wanted to share that with you. And don't forget to subscribe. Since the federal funds rate is constantly changing, your high yield savings rate interest rates are going to be changing as well. So this is as of May 2020. This could change over the span of the year, just depending on what happens with our economy. But for right now, these are all great options that offer mainly the zero balance minimum. There are quite a few other great banking options that require either a $100 minimum deposit or $500 remaining deposit or balance at all times. I just chose to not include those because I don't want to have to deal with any kind of headache or minimum balance requirement. A couple key points to remember when we're talking about high yield savings accounts is that there are some limitations and but also security within having this and being able to accumulate a higher interest rate than 0.07, which is the national average right now. So if you want to do a high yield savings account, they're great for having a place to put your emergency fund, sinking funds, and if you don't know what sinking funds are, I have a short video that you can click right here, or I'll link to this in the description as well. And but basically, it's a place where you're going to want to put long-term funds, but not necessarily savings that you want to be able to access really quickly or on a very consistent basis throughout the month. The reason for this is that there is an actual federal law that for high yield savings accounts and some CDs is that you can't withdraw more than 6 times per pay cycle or per statement cycle. So every month basically you have a cutoff that you can't withdraw or do any kind of ACH transfer, bill payment, wire transfer, or loan payments from these accounts. Number 1 is going to be Ally Bank, and this one is my personal favorite. So it has a 1.5% APY. There's no minimum balance, no fees associated with any kind. And they recently added a feature where you can add buckets. So basically, instead of just having one savings account where you have a lump sum of money, you can add up to 10 different buckets where you can label emergency fund, vacations, house fund, things like that. And you can separate out all of your savings into those different buckets or start sinking funds that are smaller amounts, but you have everything individualized, so you don't actually have to keep track of those sinking funds amounts in a spreadsheet or other budgeting app that you use. Number 2 is Marcus by Goldman Sachs. While I don't personally have this one, it offers a 1.55% interest rate, which has been cut recently. And it offers a no minimum balance, no monthly fees. It does have the standard 6 withdrawal limitation, of course, and this one doesn't have any kind of checking account that you can link to it or ATM access, and it's completely online, so there's no kind of brick and mortar store that you can access this money, so it's a little bit more like you need to leave it there, but it does have a higher interest rate, and it is FDIC insured. Number 3 is Capital One, which offers a 1.5% APY, and they actually you're able to access the funds from a mobile app or online at a branch, but you don't actually have the option of linking a checking account and getting ATM access. But out of all of the banks that I'm talking about today, this is the one where you can actually access your high yield savings accounts from a local branch. You don't actually have to do an external transfer or even internal transfer to a different checking account in order to access those funds. So that's a huge perk right there. Plus, it is FDIC insured, and since it's a larger bank, they have a mobile app and you can do mobile deposits. Number 4 is Synchrony Bank, and they offer a 1.5% interest rate, zero balance minimum, and no fees, monthly fees associated with it. And they also give you an ATM card with unlimited withdrawals, and they'll pay up to $5 for ATM charges in a given pay cycle. Synchrony is also FDIC insured. They have a checking account that you can set up as well to have easier transfer access that way, or you can link external non-Synchrony bank accounts to your high yield savings account so that you can transfer funds in between that. And they also have mobile deposit options. Number 5 is Barclays, and I think it's still worth mentioning even though their interest rates have dropped to 1.5%. They have a zero balance minimum requirement, no other monthly fees, but there is no other kind of ATM access that you can use with this bank. So it's more similar to the Marcus by Goldman Sachs, where you need to leave the funds there, and it's going to take about 2 to 3 business days in order for you to get the funds from that high yield savings account to transfer to your checking account so that you can actually use it. However, it is FDIC insured, and it's still a great option to look at since it's still above the 1.5% APY. Number 6 is Discover, and I say this one mostly because it has the convenience of being able to add a checking account for linked internal transfers. There's a zero balance minimum requirement, no monthly fees, but there is a $30 wire transfer fee if you ever need to use that option, which most people don't. They are also FDIC insured and offer mobile deposits. Since they have an app, they're a larger bank, so it's just a little bit easier to manage your money with the larger banks like Discover and Capital One. Let me know in the comments below which one you have or which one you think you'll be choosing. And thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.